Welcome back to the Nightlife Podcast, Season 3, Episode 14, the first episode of 2020 that I know a lot of you have been waiting for. And I had to start this year with someone that's kind of a personality, someone I've been following for a while and who I happen to find very interesting. And you know, the kind of people that I think has a lot to give back to you guys. Now, besides the fact that he has a lot, a lot to give to the bar and restaurant community, the hospitality industry. We had a conversation last year at the end of the year where he spoke to me about the plans and the new things that he's going to be talking about, and one subject in particular that I believe is very important, and is one that hit me hard at the end of the year and just kind of woke me up. And so I felt like this had to be that first interview. And just without further ado, let me bring this guy in. The Delo. How are you, my man?
I'm good, my man. How are you?
Good to see that you had time to brush your hair.
Yes, I did the old hair brushing today. If you've been following me, you'll notice that half my videos are a little bit of a crazy hair day. So
Definitely. You know what? That makes life a little simpler. No, I mean, you have any idea how many times I'm thinking about, oh my God, does this look right? Even when I'm doing my haircut now, I gotta make sure that this part, which represents me now,
yeah,
is exactly where it needs to go. So. Start at the beginning. Why don't you tell the audience, who you are, where you come from, what do you do?
For sure. I'm native to Arizona. Went to basically went to college out here, and through college I got an internship through Warner Brother Records, and they had a distribution company that allowed me to work into the entertainment industry. So I got to do a lot of cool stuff with bands such as Aerosmith and Van Halen, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Madonna, and those are some of the bigger scale acts. A lot of smaller scale acts that people may or may not have ever heard of. And through that, I got my I got a lot of love in the hospitality and in the entertainment, aspect of life. And so that ended up parlaying into, believe it or not, owning an insurance agency that my dad, he had started about 40 years ago. I purchased it from him about 12 years ago. But instead of just being a regular, everyday, boring commodity insurance guy, I decided to create bartenders.com and just focus on what my passion was, and that's the hospitality industry.
Correct. So that is actually how I ended up running into you, was through the bar and restaurant insurance, which is definitely a subject. I think that's one of the first things I said to you is like it's a boring subject. A lot of people hate to talk insurance and even understand it, or a lot of people think they can do without it. I mean, I don't even know the law behind it as to what you're required or not. I mean, there's always somebody else in the business, in our business, that takes care of that part. But I love the fact that you were able to take that and make it interesting, entertaining, as a matter of fact.
Thank you.
So you have a podcast. What is the name again? What is the name of the podcast?
Yeah, podcast, very straightforward. It's kind of like my website. It's Bar and Restaurant Podcast.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
And what are the subjects you talk about in that podcast? Because I want people here to go get some of that for sure.
Yeah, and so the podcast has nothing to do with insurance, has nothing to do with any of that. The podcast is really me interviewing people such as, like you're interviewing me, to tell their stories in hospitality, in entertainment, in the restaurant business, and how they got started, who they are, where they came from, that sort of thing. And then I'll also interviewing other aspects of people that can create some sort of added value, so that people that listen that are in the hospitality industry can maybe take something away from those stories, or maybe from, a really good vendor or somebody that is working to improve the hospitality industry.
There you go. So I have definitely listened to a few of those, and it is entertainment. Again, your
Thank
personality, you. the way that you drive it, and it makes it also more interesting. It's a big plus. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, the subject that we talked about at the end of the year was has to do with fitness, health in general, in the industry.
Right.
You know, and it is something that touched me because I have actually decided to start taking care of myself not too long ago. I mean, I've lived, not that I've lived a life that has been, you know, awful, off the charts, going crazy, and you know, or like drugs and alcohol and all this, you know, whatever. But I have been one of those that believed that there was no time to actually take care of, you know, myself or anybody that's in the industry due to the times, you know what I mean? For example, the schedules, the hours that we operate, and you know, the drinking and the food that we, you know, it just everything that we are around.
Yeah.
Most of the time. So what drove you into getting into that side?
Well, so as a kid, I always grew up. I was one of those kids that would, you know, be down in the basement with the cement weights back in the day when they were wrapped in plastic, and I always wanted to, you know, be Arnold Schwarzenegger. I grew up in that. I grew up in that era, you know, between the '80s rock bands and, you know,
you're a Star Wars lover, so you know.
Yeah, the Predator movies and all that stuff. Right. So you always, you know, as a kid, you're just like, oh, I want to be ripped, you know, I want to have all these muscles, and I got into, you know, health and fitness at a rather young age, and my dad, who's, you know, he was a bodybuilder and still is actually at 71. My dad's still competing, and you know, my mom's always been in great shape, and so I've had it always in my blood. You know, when I was young, I would run races, and I always competed not just with, you know, others, but within myself. So there was always an attraction to fitness and to health and all that first. And if you don't have health, you know, day in and day out, then it can really limit your ability to be as great as you can possibly be, not just for yourself, but for others. Right. So as I got more and more into, you know, out of college and then more and more into the hospitality industry, you know, I've owned 13 restaurants myself as well. So I've been ingrained into that culture quite a bit, and that culture can be very detrimental to one's health, just because, you know, when you're in your 20s, you know, maybe even early 30s, you feel invincible, and you don't realize the amount of damage that you are doing by overindulgence of certain things. So you know, my whole aspect of things, as I got over my really, you know, alcohol stints and staying up late and eating like crap because of the alcohol stints and all that, I mean, I got really bloated and just sickly. And I didn't even realize how bloated or how sickly I was until I could revert back and look back, you know, when I was, you know, before all that time and how I felt. And then I started working out a little bit and getting in some good shape. And all of a sudden I started having these energy levels that were amazing. So
was there like an aha moment where it all switched?
Yeah, the aha moment was when I turned 40, and I had recently I'd been with my wife of now. I'm 45 now, so we've been together a good 6.5 years. But when I hit 40 and I could really start feeling stuff, just looking in the mirror and just being like, what
wobble when stuff started to wobble.
Yeah, that and the fact that, you know, a lot of my behaviors were not, how do I say, one of a man that now has a family and people to, you know, help take care of and do all that. I realized that wasn't who I was, and I was like, I got to get out of this.
Correct. 100%. I'm standing with you. So for me, kind of, it has a lot to do with that. Not just my wife, but the kids. You know, it's realizing that you know, like, here I am trying to wake up at noon, and I, you know, wasted half their day already waiting for me to get up so that we can go do something, whatever, that kind of thing. You know, and I realized I missed so much. I mean, I'm glad I caught it so soon. I mean, that my eldest is 6 years old. I got 3 of them. But yeah, definitely it was one of the things that drove me into making some changes. Now, the part where I'm more interested in now is how do you go from realizing, okay, I got to do something about myself, onto now I have to do something about helping others too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my passion for life and when I started putting a lot of this online, and people would privately get back to me and just say, hey, you know, you're your running video or your workout video or whatever it was, that I was doing, in that date and time, really motivated me to get going, to go do this or to do that. It started clicking with me. And I am definitely a person or a personality that loves to be put out there and loves to share what it is that I'm doing, because if it's helping just one person, I feel great about it, and I want them to feel great about it. I want them to spread that word. So when I look at it from a standpoint of I'm just an average dude, I mean, there's nothing special here. I wake up the same way as you guys do. I put on my pants the same way. I eat my food the same way.
The hair may be different.
The hair may be a little bit, yeah. So what I wanted to be able to do is share from a perspective, within an industry that I'm very familiar with. I've worked in for, half of my life. Share from a perspective from somebody that has just as much time as everybody else, but I've figured it out, and I'm still figuring stuff out. But to be able to just put it out there, and if people can, grasp and gravitate to it, because I'm just an average dude that, works in hospitality and has a job and does all that, as opposed to, nothing wrong with it, but as opposed to the Arnold Schwarzenegger type of training like people, or the fact that you think you have to go to the gym for, an hour and a half a day, and it just, you don't.
Correct. So I don't think we mentioned it, as a matter of fact, what exactly it is, because we spoke about bar and restaurant podcast, but this part that has to do with fitness, is it a separate podcast that you're going to be doing regarding this stuff, or?
So So the Bar and Restaurant Podcast is going to have a couple of podcasts on there that are going to lend itself to this new, let's just say, product I'm putting out there called Healthy Hospitality. And Healthy Hospitality, when I say product, all it is right now is a community that I am creating for anybody in the hospitality industry or any other industry. I'm here to help anybody that wants to be a part, to gravitate to be a part of, and for me to give, added value to these people, whether it be, people that can help them on yoga moves or mindful meditation or workouts or mobility or eating. So all of that stuff are tools that I'm putting together to put into this community that people can join. There's no price on it. It's just one of these things where we want to create this momentum nationwide, to where people feel like, wow, this is cool. I can get some great information on here for free, and it's very attainable for us to maybe stretch 10 minutes a day, or maybe get a 10-minute workout in before I go on that 10-hour shift and I'm on my feet. And if that makes a 10 to 20% shift in their life or their attitude, we're all winning.
Right. I mean, I can tell you one thing: the energy is there. I mean, which is a big part. I mean, when we're not taking care of ourselves, eating unhealthy and not exercising, I mean, people think, yeah, but if I exercise, I get more tired. No, it's the other way around. It's crazy how it changes,
The exercise, even 10 minutes of an exercise can make a lifetime of difference, and only, even if it's a couple times a week, and water. I mean,
correct,
my God, if you just drink a gallon of water a day, you'll watch your energy levels.
Right. So let me ask you, I love the idea, the community and being, being able to help people in that way, which is something that I don't think I've heard other people, touch on in the hospitality industry, which is a good thing that somebody is. How would you, what would you say to somebody? Is it ever too late to start? Because I know a lot of people, our age or plus, who have been in this for a long time and may feel like, what, I already own this Italian restaurant. I am already the guy that sits at the front door looking at, Uncle Tito, and it's just part of the brand. And, is it ever too late?
No, it's never too late. You just have to have hope. You just have to have some, it has to be your decision. You have to want to do it, and you have to want to do it for yourself and for your health. And that will stem off to the rest, because look, if you don't have your health, then you get sick quicker. If you don't have your health, you can't, really take care of those that are around you. So really, what is the decision? Do you want to be the fat person, bloated and not getting any sleep and feeling like crap every day just because that's the person that these people are used to seeing at the front door? I mean, do you want to be that almost like the what is it called, the not the
that word.
Yeah, that word. almost like a shell of yourself,
Right.
in an aspect. And I don't want to say like the laughing stock, but if people are coming, I mean, look, okay, here's a good example. When I was, fat and bloated and just the life of the party, that's all I was the life of the party, I don't need to be the life of the party anymore. With my energy and my health, I'm 3 times as productive. I get a lot more done. I'm able to do more for more people. And believe it or not, your business will not suffer. It just won't. If your food's good and you're on point and you're doing everything that you need to do and you're able to buy yourself a couple more hours a day because you're not waking up late, you're not feeling like crap, and you're able to help those around you, it will all work out. It's definitely better.
Right. And I can add to that the fact that when it's related to the nightlife, more, clubs, bars, even more. I mean, it's, you have to look your best. You got to look your part, you know what I mean? And people are going to respect you more when you take care of yourself. As some say, you clean up well. All of that has to do, your image in general. It's very, very important.
Sure.
So, on the other side, it's not talking about the older, side that we are already on, but
yeah.
the new guys that are getting into in the industry and are younger. And still haven't felt that, what happens after 30, after 40, that things change and all that stuff, and they feel that they can eat anything and do anything or whatnot. I understand it's never too early also to begin, but what are the different things that you would tell somebody who's young? Like, how would you convince a guy or girl who's at a point in their lives where eating pizza may not affect the way they're going to wake up the next day, but to actually start now, you know what I mean? And start taking care of themselves.
Yeah, that for...
in the industry, especially,
Yeah, and I tell that to my son, who's actually 18, and he's a relatively, growing up between, my wife and I, who's healthy as all can be. He's a relatively, healthy eater and exercises and does all that. But, back to your question for the 20-something-year-old, kid that's out there and feels invincible and not really worried about it. I really, it comes down to plan your partying. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, there's really not a need to have to party every single night and not get your sleep. And I get it. I mean, this is not like, oh my God, stop doing everything you're doing, shut down your life and the supposed fun that you're doing. Look, I love the hospitality industry. I love what it has to offer in the sense of community. I mean, booze is not the devil, it's something that people partake in and they enjoy. And I get that, but I hate to, keep using an overused word, but it's the best word for it. It's called balance. And it's just figuring, even at a young age, how you can start to create those healthy habits within yourself so that you do have a sense of balance. And then as you get older, it's not quite the crutch that you've, created all the way to where, you're 40 and it takes you even longer to get there. So, if you can just really balance out your nights and your days and plan your partying. It's like, okay, you know what? I got to work, a 3-day, 10-hour shift or whatever. Maybe I don't go out after that, second day shift after being beat up from the day before and drink with the guys and girls. Maybe I just kind of do these 3 days, and maybe on my last day I reward myself with a little bit of a night out, knowing that I have a day to kind of, get the extra sleep in and not have to rush to work.
Right. So on another subject, when I started talking, when I was going to introduce you, I was saying you're kind of a personality. I mean, I've been following you for a while, the hair, the energy, all that kind of thing. And it was more towards bar and restaurant, but then I started following the Delo, understanding and seeing you more and more as a brand,
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what is the plan? What is the goal? Where are you going with that?
Yeah, what I wanted to do is, as I get to this, this phase in my life, and the aspect of the business that I do in insurance is doing very well, and it's a referral basis, and I'm really good with that. But moving further, I want to keep making a difference and really create, again, that community that we talked about earlier. So I set up a new website, and it's iamthedelo.com. We'll be doing a full launch on that. We have a whole 8-minute video, about me, a day day in my life, and basically the campaign that we're going on to get people, in the hospitality arena involved and excited, and for me to be a conduit or somebody to listen to others about what they're going through, and to be very helpful and very responsive. I love, giving any advice or anything that I can back to somebody that may be in need, and then putting out a lot of material every day, just putting out material within my normal everyday life. And if it's something that again, I do a lot of running, so after I run, a lot of just stuff will come to my mind, and I'll just blurt it out right on social media. And so I'll be doing little individual 5-minute podcasts even on my website, and I want the website to be something where people can come and they can share with me what it is that they're doing, and how, if they have questions and stuff like that, and just create something that's of positive value, all about love, and just, a community. And yes, I am the Delo because my last name's Di Lorenzo, and everybody's called me Delo. So.
Yeah, I don't think we ever even said your actual, David De Lorenzo, the whole name.
Yeah.
But that's, the whole idea. I actually I saw her, Delo yesterday, and we were, and with her husband, A-Rod. I'm like, it's funny how they, you know what I mean? And when I was saying Delo at the beginning, I'm like, that's the direction you're going. You know what I mean?
100%. It's easier to remember too.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. I have a feeling I'm gonna see you at some point, always with the hair up. I don't know why, because it is, it just right away. I can remember, and when I'm scrolling down and I see, you come up, and the hair is there somehow. If I'm scrolling through, I'm like, I stop and listen, because and it is something I'm interested in listening to. So it's good to recognize it in some kind of way. It is part of the brand, right?
Yeah, no, it is. Hey, as long as I can keep this, we'll do the best that we can.
We'll see how long that lasts. All right, so now, guys, I am the Delo.com. So remember, go there for all of that, and definitely connect with this guy. Also, go listen to the Bar and Restaurant podcast. What are the plans in regards to the Bar and Restaurant podcast in general? What is the are you stopping that? Is that going to continue? Is that going to be?
No, that's got a lot of. So I do have my own social media company here in Arizona called The Local 480. It's very localized to Arizona, and but with it, what we're doing is we're really promoting the Bar Restaurant Podcast, and I will be bringing on people from all over to come on to it that may, that can tell their stories and have an added value to anybody in hospitality. So, looking at my board over here, I've got a couple of, food writers. I've got food influencers that are going to be on. I've got a guy that owns a bunch of Italian restaurants. So we got a lot of, big plans and a lot of podcasts that we've already recorded that are on. And these podcasts are full done videos. We've been doing the Facebook advertising with them, getting lots of views and lots of great hits. And it just, warms my heart to know that I can get people to really tell their story, and I can get it shared out there with any and everybody that wants to listen. And I'm grateful for anybody that does want to listen and does get something out of it. We've been getting great feedback on it. So that podcast is going to be going strong, and we're going to be doing a lot of great stuff with it.
That's awesome. Delo, so let me have all your information, hashtags, Instagram, whatever, social media, so people can follow you.
Yeah, so I am the Delo on Instagram.
Makes sense.
Yep. And then on Facebook, I have I am the Delo as well, or the Delo is actually, I have the Delo page. We're also going to have a healthy hospitality community group on Facebook. So
I love that name, by the way, Healthy Hospitality. I mean,
yeah, thank you. So once the website gets released and the Healthy Hospitality podcast does, there'll be a free downloadable ebook that I'm putting together right now that's going to be have some amazing links with a trainer that I've worked with and a chef that I've worked with out here to some great resources for people to be able to get those 5 to 10 minute workouts or meditational practices or eating tips, stuff like that. So all that's coming. Obviously, I am the Delo.com website, and I'm on Twitter and some of these other assets, TikTok or whatever. But Instagram and Facebook are my main ones in the podcast.
Right. All right. So one thing that I can say when it comes to health and that area, which is not one that I was ever acquainted with, or that anybody that I would ever think I would be talking about at all. nowadays, like I said, things change. I mean, and it was not too long ago. As a matter of fact, it's just through an app that I was using on my phone. It's called Noom.
Yeah.
And I used it today. I got a message that it said, "It's congratulations, your 100th day. I've lost 20 pounds, and now I'm on the next stage of actually, moving more and starting to do more. And I am getting my energy back, which I was losing a lot of. Definitely waking up earlier. It's a lot of stuff. But
Well,
the one main, go ahead.
You bring up a great point right there that I sorry to interrupt you, but like just that alone, your one story, I want thousands of those stories to be on our community so other people can hear that and be like, wow, I do have this hope. And it creates that, it just creates that chain reaction. So Definitely. That's awesome.
Definitely. And for me, the one thing that I think drove me a little more and more was my confidence. I gained my confidence again, and I was losing my confidence.
Yeah.
Just being out there and feeling like, oh man, this shirt doesn't fit the way that it used to, and I can't wear this jacket. So what I did, I got rid of a bunch of clothes, and I said, you know what, I'm not gonna buy bigger ones. I am fitting back on the small one again, going back to what I used to, and it just happened. It worked. I mean, eating well, drinking a lot of water and moving and being more active. So things that people tell you all the time, but having a community behind, which is what I believe the Noom thing helped. Having a community behind to actually help and say you can do this, and this is what I did, this is what worked for me, all that kind of stuff was what actually made this work. So I believe 100% in what you're doing there and bringing people in and everybody sharing those stories together for sure. So
that's great. Yeah, thank you.
So Delo, man, it was a pleasure to have you here. We have been trying to do this for a couple of weeks. We are not techies at all, but we made it. So
thank you for your patience.
I'm sure that a lot of people are gonna take advantage of this. It is the first weeks of January, so definitely take advantage of the fact that it is probably that one time where we all say we're gonna make a change. Do it. Make sure that you do this time. Take care of yourself because it is worth it. So, Mr. Dave DeLorenzo, formerly known as Dave DeLorenzo, now the Delo, thank you again, and I definitely hope to see you again.
Bro, you will, for sure.
All right guy.
All right, brother. Thanks.
See you next time.